Hey guys, it's Paul here today, the best maths teacher in the world. And, oh, what happened to my screen? And today we're going to see how to, I don't know what is going on. We are going to see how to add fractions again with different denominators when we have to do something to both of the numbers, when we have to times both of the numbers and not just one of them, okay? So first example that we're going to look at is, let us have 1 over 5 plus 2 over 6, okay? Now we need to do something to both the 5 and the 6. We need to get them the same, okay? So first thing we can think of is what number does 5 and 6 both go into? So we can make a list of numbers that both 5 and 6 go into. So the smallest number that they go into, let's see, the smallest number that they go into is, I believe, 30. Both numbers also go into 60 and into 90 and anyway and so forth, so forth. But anyway, we're going to look at the smallest one, okay? So the smallest number that both 5 and 6 go into is 30, okay? So you're just going to see what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to already pre-make two fractions that have 30 as their bottom numbers, okay? So we're going to say, what do we need to do to 5 in order to make it a 30? What do we need to times it by? We need to times it by 6, isn't it? So we times the bottom by 6, and whatever we do to the bottom, we need to also do to the top in order to keep the fraction equivalent, okay? So 1 times 6 is going to give you 6, and obviously the 5 times 6 is going to give us 30, which we have here, okay? Now we're going to look at our 2, 6 and say, what do we need to do to the 6 in order to make it a 30? We need to times it by 5. So we need to times the bottom by 5, and we also need to times the top by 5. So 2 times 5 is going to give us 10. Lovely. And the 6 times 5 is going to give you 30, which we've already got there, okay? So we're going to add the two top numbers together, which is going to give us 16. And the two bottom numbers stay the same, 30. Okay? So that's example 1. Lovely. So let's look at another example. Ha ha ha. Okay, let us have I don't know why I'm trying to speak French now. Anyway, let's have 6 over 7 take away 1 over 4. Okay. Now again, we need to make a list of numbers that both 7 and 4 go into. Now, what numbers do both 7 and 4 go into? Well, to be honest, we just need to look for the smallest number that both 7 and 4 go into. And I can already say that the smallest number that both 7 and 4 goes into is actually 28. Oh, my pen. Why is it doing that? Just give me a second, guys. Be patient with me and my pen problems. Okay, so the smallest number that they both go into is 28. Lovely. Okay. Woo! So already I'm going to pre-make two fractions that have 28 as a base. Okay. Now we're going to look at the first one, 6 over 7, and say, what did we do to 7 in order to make it a 28? We times it by 4. Okay. And what we do to the bottom, we need to do to the top in order to keep the fraction equivalent. Lovely. So we do 6 times 4 is going to give us 24. And obviously we've got 7 times 4, which gives us the 28. Okay. Now we're going to look at this fraction, 1 over 4. And we're going to say, what do we need to do to the 4 in order to make it a 28? Well, we basically need to times it by 7. We need to times the bottom by 7. We need to times the top by 7 in order to keep the fraction what? Equivalent. Lovely. So 1 times 7 is going to give us 7. And the 4 times 7 is basically going to give you the 28, sorry. Okay. Now we're going to do 24 take away 7, which is going to give us 17. And obviously it's 28 stays the same. It still stays as 28. Okay. Beautiful. So basically that's how to add fractions or subtract fractions that have different denominators that require you to do something to both of the denominators. And as you can see, some of you may be able to kind of see a pattern. Well, just in these cases, we've basically just times the two numbers together. That can and will always work when you're trying to add fractions that have different denominators, that you need to do something to both denominators. That will always work. You can always times the two denominators by each other, and it will give you a common number that both the numbers go into. So for example, if we're going to look at another fraction, let's just have 3/8 plus 2/11. If you want to, you can just basically times the two bottom numbers together. So these two numbers, you can times them together. So 8 times 11, that will give you 88. So there's an 88 there, and there's also an 88 there, okay? And you say, okay, well, this fraction, we times it by 11. So therefore, I need to times the top by 11 as well. So we do 3 times 11, which is going to give us 33. And this fraction here, 2/11, we times it by 8. So we need to times the top number also by 8. So 2 times 8 is going to give you 16. So we do 33/88 plus 16/88. So we add the two top numbers together, 33 plus 16. That's going to give us 49/88. Okay. And sometimes, guys, once you've got your answer here, you can sometimes simplify it. If you can simplify it, you may not always be able to simplify it, but sometimes you can. For example, this one up here can also be simplified. They both have a factor of 2, so you could do the 16. You can do 16 divided by 2, which is going to give you 8, and you can also do 30 divided by 2, which is going to give you 15. And this can't be simplified anymore. That would be it to its simplest form. Okay. So guys, that's more to do with adding fractions with different denominators. I hope you've understood it. Leave a comment below if you really are still lost, or if you think that was good or whatever. Okay guys, I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.